There we go. I guess we're live. It's giving me all these like notifications why it's not going to broadcast on social media, but it's probably just because the cookie expired. But anyways, welcome, one and all. My name is Dylan Sacosio. This is Chris Hayes, and we've been having a lot of really deep conversations about life and consciousness lately, and I think it's hard to, it almost seems like every time someone's having a talk about this, they're promoting something or there's money on the line, and we thought it would just be fun to start kicking things off by just having interesting conversations, no subjects taboo, and seeing what people have to say about it. We're thinking about opening the floor towards the end and seeing what each one of you want to contribute. And today's subject, we just kind of wanted to talk about, we were just hanging out this morning, we thought it'd be fun to talk about parasite removal and how that plays into your diet, your health, both in the spiritual world and the material world.
Yeah, and how they're both connected pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the ways, I think, to the spiritual world is through nourishment. Mm-hmm. and what we've been putting into our bodies. We are not only what we eat, but what we pay attention to, what we see, what we put in our brains, what we put around us. But a lot of that is blocked if your brain is cement.
Mm-hmm.
If your body is mush. And I haven't looked up the data, but I've heard something around 80% of what's in your body is not actually you. It's living organisms that help you by breaking down food or digesting things for you, just helping you out in some way. And a lot of these things you feed, so they live off of what you put in. And a lot of what you think isn't what you think, it's what they think. So when you look at that ice cream, you might think, oh, I want that ice cream, but that's not necessarily you that wants that ice cream. That is what you've been feeding inside of your body.
They literally reprogram your brain to want what they want.
And they communicate telepathically to you, not only to you, but my parasites are communicating with your parasites right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like, sometimes when I'm out of weed and I really want some, someone will come up to me and offer me some, because my parasites are communicating with them, screaming at theirs, saying, I need this, I need this.
And if this sounds like far-fetched to you, I would encourage you to research the 100th monkey experiment. And it's literally, in a material mindset, describes how consciousness works, and that it doesn't necessarily need to communicate. We don't need to physically communicate with each other for consciousness to understand that intuitively and then change because of that. I just want to say it's called the 100th monkey experiment.
And so, like, before, like, sometimes you find yourself, heading down the wrong pathway. And I don't want to say diet, because it's more of just what you eat. And some people go on diets, but that's kind of BS. It's more like you need a lifestyle change. A diet will get you to some special stupid number weight-wise that you think you need to be for a day or whatever, but that will never last, and it will often have negative consequences. But a lifestyle change is something much more substantial. So when I find myself, that I've gone way off path and I need to correct, I will actually communicate with my internal parasites and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to be changing. We're going to make some changes, and either you're with me or you're going to have to leave. And so you start feeding them better things, fruits, vegetables, raw things, nuts, seeds, dark leafy greens.
That helps balance, that helps repopulate the good bacteria.
Exactly.
To the point where it's...
And then you start to feed those, and then those multiply and grow. But then the ones that you've been feeding, maybe the rancid meat or all the crap,
processed foods.
Yes, all the processed foods.
Donuts.
I'm
guilty. I love fucking donuts.
Yes,
oh my God.
yeah, I'm oversensitive myself. So they starve, and they have a need to survive just like we do, and they're not going to go peacefully. They're going to go kicking and screaming, and they're going to be screaming at you. They're going to be screaming at everyone around you. You know, give me this. I need this. I have to live. And also, when you talk about correspondence, you will also see people outside of you who the parasites in your external life, outside of you, that are the same way. The ones that are the healthy people, they will stick around and they will be fed and nourished and multiply. But there are some of us that have, you know, some Klingons, some parasites that have hung on to us, and they're not going to go peacefully. They're going to go kicking and screaming. But if you hold fast and, you know, stay determined and with proper nourishment, those people and parasites will disappear. They will go away.
There's no stopping an idea whose time has come.
Right, and they will find somebody else to cling on to. They'll, you know, go.
Or they'll just starve and die.
Yes.
You know?
And
just so you know, for those who are not, you know, initiated in some of the mystery schools or whatever, when he says correspondence, the law of correspondence is part of the Hermetic tradition, which that's where you see everywhere the as above, so below, as on earth, so in the sky, as within, so outwardly, yeah. So, and you can see that with the parasites. They cling on you inside, and they need you on the inside, just as the toxic parasites in the outside world, these things that we call the psychopath, that have nothing inherently in them, emotionally speaking, that resembles a human being. And they need you to feed off of you.
They need to be looked at. They need you to look at them. They need you to pay attention to them to have self-worth. You know,
you see a lot of this, like low-level psychopaths in reality television. It's
exactly.
like a breeding ground, a spiritual
and
candida.
if you stop paying attention to them, they will struggle to try to get their face in front of you for a while. But when they see it doesn't work, they will tire of that and they will go away. They'll find something else to do, trust me.
And the best way to do that is you don't have to fight them, because actually that's what they want. They want you, they thrive off
they try to engage you in some way.
That's their spiritual food, their energetic sustenance. So it's just like with the stuff that's going on internally, you don't actually need to you know, take antibiotics or any of this other man-made shit. All you have to do is change what you put into your body. Change the energy. If you look at,
you don't necessarily take away the bad things, but you start adding better things. And yeah, you know, slowly decrease the negative things, but you just keep adding better and better things. And then the negative parasites won't like the taste of that. You will sour the milk for them in a way, and they will.
And just to go back to the law of correspondence, you can see this with your gardens. If you take care of the soil and make sure the soil that your gardens and crops are growing in is nutrient dense, the plants actually grow differently and don't produce the same types of protein that an unhealthy plant produces. Therefore, insects don't feed off of them because they can't. It's not sustenance for them anymore.
And believe me, there's plenty of trash out there that they can go eat from. It's just they're lazy and they like to stay where they're at, and you know, why go somewhere else when you're right here feeding them, you know, everything that they want. So,
and one of the best ways, I feel like one of the biggest, most effective ways to avoid psychopaths and parasites in the physical world outside of your body is to avoid groups. And I'm not saying don't be social and avoid communities. I'm saying avoid collectivism. This idea where you join a society or where you join a clique or some group, and their way is the way, but everybody else, you know, they're lost. But our way is going to be different, and ours is the only way that the Creator chose, and all that stuff. Every time you join a group, you're sacrificing what's good and best about yourself for this collective hive mind, which in itself, the parts sum up a giant parasite.
And then you, in a way, become a parasite
to
the group.
And
you know?
fodder. You're also simultaneously, it's sustenance. You're creating it, and you're its food.
Yeah, it's the same you are a slave. You have a master. If you have a master, then you are a slave. Yes. So, and then also, you were talking about asking permission for, for your food. It's kind of like praying before you eat. It's something that doesn't offer its life to you is something that you shouldn't be eating. Like, all these animals that we're just leading to slaughter, butchering,
Enslaving.
yeah,
For
enslaving, and
stealing them from their moms, totally robbing them of the spiritual, amazing connection that all beings get with their mother.
and then some may actually offer their life to you, but you probably have to chase that thing for 100 miles under your own power for it to do that. It's not like you give someone $5 and then they hit this cow
That sounds
over
great.
the head. They keep this cow in a cage, they beat it over the head till it dies, and then it releases all those toxic chemicals, all those fear chemicals
Yeah, the
into
adrenaline.
it. And then you eat that, and then that fear is transmitted into you.
And as a former violator of natural law myself and a former meat junkie, I can attest that the meat tastes differently when you kill an animal that doesn't know it's going to die and it's just gone like that, versus if you shoot something and it misses its mark and it's got an arrow or a bullet in it and it's running around for, a couple hours or whatever before it dies. The meat is spoiled. It tastes so gamey that it's just, you're getting all that toxic energy. And just to throw it back to what we were talking about with the parasites, this paradigm we've currently created, everybody's kind of, let's not mince words. If you eat meat that you didn't kill, you're a coward. And I'm guilty of that. I'm not saying that I haven't been that way. It's just a reality, and I'm not judging anyone. But what that is doing is it's creating this population that is killing other sentient beings for our consumption. And those people, by seeing all that suffering, by killing it, the animals, they're being converted into secondary psychopaths. And that, if you look at the law of correspondence, is actually creating another human parasite. Each time we have someone do our killing for us,
And we do it for...
it's creating
we
more
don't
parasites.
do it for our need either. We do it for our pleasure. It's almost like we're laughing about it, and we throw away half of it.
Yeah.
It's a shame, and I am as guilty of it as anyone else. I was raised on burgers. And
Me too.
burgers and food. I would, you either kill something or you have it killed, but it is killed for you, and paying someone to do it is probably worse than doing it yourself.
It's a way to temporarily sidestep the karmic consequences. For example, you're not going to become a secondary psychopath by just buying meat off the market. But the consequences of what it's doing to your body is fucking awful. Like all the cells in your body that need to be healing it and fighting cancer. Well, when you have dead carcass in your intestines for, decades, and people don't think it's in you for that long, it is. All those toxins are building up on your intestines walls. That's why when you go on a serious cleanse, you lose a lot of weight. It's because you're expelling all that toxic dead matter that's been stuck to your intestines. And that's your body's way of keeping those toxins from being in your bloodstream. But as you get older and your body's ability to hold all those toxins together starts breaking down, all those deposits in your liver, everything, that shit starts leaking out and going into the most susceptible parts of your body. That's why everyone's getting sick. And everyone wants to think everything's
Not to
good.
mention all the hormones that they put in those animals. If you're...
Cows don't eat corn. Just a news flash. Doesn't matter if the corn isn't GMO. Cows don't eat corn. The end.
So yeah, there's a lot of spiritualism that we, need to get to, but a lot of it is blocked by the foods we eat. If you start to eat better foods, more raw living foods, you will find your body more receptive to these ideas. That's why Pythagoras had all of his students be vegetarian or probably vegan, I think, even for 3 years before they even allowed him into the school, because he knew that they wouldn't understand what he was talking about with all of this trash basically inside of their body.
And the reality is if you're sincerely, all you care about is truth, and you're not here for an ego trip, you really just want to know what's going on in the world and really examine natural law. This is why the majority of successful magi, I mean, just let's stop mincing words. These people who practice magic, all the good ones are vegans. They're not fucking stupid. And the sorcerers that divide you internally and keep you in a constant state of duality, they love this. They love watching you make these side steps and get caught up by this karmic consequences of eating trash and dead nutrients. And if you want to know what you need to put in your body, it's not rocket science. Is it alive? Did nature make it? God make it? I don't care what you believe in. Did human beings make it, or did nature make it? And if human beings made it, it's not meant for you. Now, I'm not saying you can't go and eat man-made food. I love man-made food, but you have to understand what the consequences are going to be and balance it out accordingly for what's right for you. And as you do that, and all the shit in your intestines gets expelled over time, you won't have to eat 2,000 calories at a meal to feel full, because your body will absorb all the live nutrients. This is not something that you need to take our word for it. Do a vegan challenge. Do it for a month. I can give you a cleanse right now. I hate just talking about problems. I'm all about giving conscious solutions. And so this is my solution for all of you who are in doubt about this. It's called Ejuva. It's a vegan cleanse. EJUVA. The first week, you still eat 3 meals a day. The second week, you eat 2 meals a day. The third week, you eat 1 meal a day. And then the fourth week is a 7-day juice cleanse. And then in that fourth week, you also do colonics and enemas. And when all that stuff is removed from your body, it's like the most euphoric feeling you've ever had. And it's like being restarted. It's absolutely amazing. So that's my conscious solution.
It's like your eyes actually open up.
Mm-hmm.
You start to see vivid colors again. You start to see more beauty. You start to see more patterns instead of death all around you.
And you get more sensitive. You get more intuitive. As your third eye opens, your body ends up craving different things.
Process emotions that you've never felt before. And believe me, I've done cleanses. You remember every single piece of food that you have ever thrown away in your life. Mm-hmm. You remember everything that you've wasted in your life. These memories come flooding back, and you're just suppressing them by eating as much as we do. Not to mention the lack of exercise I was mentioning earlier. Whenever you don't exercise, you don't realize how full you are. But you eat a little bit and then try to go run 2 or 3 miles. You'll find out that you actually were a lot more full than you thought you were. And you weren't quite as hungry to eat what you were going to eat as you thought you were. Your blood will start moving. You will realize, oh, I actually am full. But when you're just sitting there sedentary, you can eat and eat and eat and eat and never feel full. It's just your brain won't make that connection.
Yeah, until there's like a fire alarm and you need to run downstairs. Yeah. All right. Well, what do you think? You want to? Doesn't look like we have any questions being asked. So you want to wrap it up there?
Yeah, sure.
Call it a day. Okay, perfect. And if this interests you, we'll try to do this maybe once a week or so, and kind of just see if
we won't talk about food every time.
Yeah, no, we just like talking. It's just that we were talking on the way over here, and it kind of just inspired us to talk about parasites and the law of correspondence and how that relates to all scales of life in the universe. So we'll leave it at that, and we'll take suggestions and questions and all that stuff next time and see what you guys have to contribute, and then we can talk about other topics and just kind of go into it and there's nothing right or wrong here in terms of what people can suggest, as long as it's coming from a place of earnestness and love and all that stuff.
I love new ideas.
Yeah,
I love to get into it.
I feel like it's almost like playing music with people. The more you talk to people about stuff, the more you learn about it.
Right.
And
the more it opens up your own mind, and the
yeah.
more you learn about yourself.
So it's just like win, 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 win. So that's kind of why we do this, and we'll see you on the other side, if you will. All right, see you later.